What?
Are you open?
Read the sign.
I'll have a Krabby Patty Deluxe and a double chili kelp fries.
How's it going, guys? It's your boy Random Tall Guy. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for me, and of course, let's get started. On today's video, I'm going to be working on the 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ, and today I'm going to do a simple repair or replacement. I'm going to be replacing the windshield washer, reservoir, and pumps that goes right here. Now it's pretty simple, but in case you guys are wondering where it's located or where you have to unbolt or where you have to remove to get to it, I'm gonna make a simple video on how to do that. But before we get started, I want to do a quick overview on the repairs and stuff I added to the XJ. All right, so that being said, we're just gonna start off with these fender flares. Obviously, they're really noticeable, and obviously, if you saw my previous video, there was no fender flare that came with the vehicle. So I went ahead and installed fender flares on each corner of the car, and the reason why I did that is because I need to pass inspection, and in my state, you need to cover the tire. So I went ahead and I installed fender flares. These are cheap eBay ones, and I did not cut the fenders or anything. I just went ahead and I measured, and I went ahead and bolted on. They're pretty clean, and they definitely are symmetrical on both ends. I went ahead and measured it. As I mentioned, I did not cut any part of the fender. I just went ahead and I sandwiched this up. I measured, and I went ahead and I drilled. All right, another repair I did was the front passenger brake line. If you take a look right here, I did that. I went all the way across the engine bay, and I also installed a new brake master cylinder right here. Another repair I did was the whole drum brake assembly in the back right here. All right, guys, if you take a look at it, I have brand new everything, brand new drums, the brand new shoes, brand new hardware, brand new cylinder, all new lines all across, same thing on that side. I went ahead and bled it, and I also adjusted multiple times. These are annoying to adjust, but once you get the sweet spot, it should last me another 100,000 miles. But yeah, I did both sides. I also, I think from the previous video you saw, I did the fluids, the front differential and the rear differential fluids. So that has been done as well. Now, one stupid thing I discovered this morning when I was moving the vehicle is that there's a clanging noise happening in the passenger front here. I went ahead and I diagnosed the issue, and of course it's a common U-joint, axle U-joint, that is causing the clanging issue, which is right here. Honestly, the U-joint is pretty cheap. It's like 10 bucks, but in order to get to it, you need to remove the hub, which on these vehicles, they're always seized up pretty tight. So that is the most annoying part. So I'm gonna make a separate video on that. There is a way to remove the hub without using a slide hammer or some giant sledgehammer. I'm gonna show you in a later video on how to do that. It should be fun, but yeah, the U-joint on this vehicle has gone bad. It's common on these XJs, it's not expensive, it's just annoying to get to, so I need to replace that. Alright guys, if you take a look over here, I also installed a new U-joint on the drive shaft, on the front here, and also at the end here. It was pretty simple. It was just really annoying for some reason for this side to remove it. I have a awesome C-clamp that I use to remove these. Typically it takes me a few minutes, but for some reason these was really seized up, and I almost broke the ears right here. So, but I got it on. If this ever gives me any issues, I'm just gonna replace the whole drive shaft because I'm sick of this rust. But I think that's all I did underneath here. As I mentioned, got new brake lines. The whole rear brakes has been all done. The drive shaft has been done. All right, now on to the biggest repair that I have done to this vehicle, and it was honestly a headache, and a mechanics would charge you $1,000 to take care of it. It's really annoying, and that is the heater core. The heater core on this vehicle has gone bad, and I went ahead and I replaced the whole heater core, the evaporator. I did everything, and it took me about 2 days. I started off, I believe, like a Saturday night around 7 o'clock, and I finished Sunday night around 7 o'clock, I think. It took me 2 days to get that done. All right, guys. In case you guys are not familiar on where the heater core is located and why it costs $1,000 to replace it, honestly, the heater core costs about 50 to 75 bucks, so it's pretty cheap for a car part. But in order to replace it, you got to remove the whole dash. This whole dash needs to come out. The center console, the armrest, the seats need to all come out. Then once all this is removed or pushed out far enough, there's a HVAC box in here and underneath here that has the heater core and the AC evaporator. You have to basically unbolt it from the engine bay and then remove it. And also, since you have to remove the AC system, you need to purge out all the refrigerant, and it's really annoying. As I mentioned, it took me about 2 days. It was honestly, it was not that bad. It wasn't like the hardest thing. I think doing like the head gasket on the vehicle is way harder. But honestly, it is time consuming, and you have to pay attention to everything because once again, you're removing the whole dash. You have thousands of cables, thousands of clips, and all this stuff. Honestly, it is doable. You can definitely do it in your garage at home. So that being said, I'm definitely gonna link the YouTube videos that I follow when I did this job. Definitely, it should be a good reference point for you guys if you want to tackle that job. So if you're gonna tackle this and you need this vehicle for work from like Monday and stuff like that, tackle the job on like a Friday afternoon. So you got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to, you know, get this all done. I believe you can get it done in 2 days. I honestly, it took me a full 24 hours to do it. And I was honestly, I did some of it. I stopped, I played music, I went ahead and I ate something on the side. But yeah, that was the hardest job, and I don't blame the Jeep. These Jeeps are reliable. Don't let that discourage you in case you guys don't want to buy an XJ. It does happen. It can happen on any vehicle. I'm glad it happens on a Jeep. On this Jeep in particular, just because once you fix it, you don't have to worry about it forever again. And as I mentioned, these cars are really reliable. The engine, transmission, everything is pretty good. And honestly, removing all this was pretty simple. It wasn't like, you know, you need some special prying tool or like you need some kind of special computer reprogramming system or anything like that. Everything is pretty much mechanic. Like newer cars, everything's all computerized. So like the moment you disconnect the harness, you have to reprogram it. It's pretty stupid. For these vehicles, they're pretty simple. It's just a bunch of hard plastic everywhere. And honestly, and honestly, as I mentioned, the heater core replacement is not that bad. It is time consuming, and if you do decide to bring it into a mechanic, they will charge you $1,000 to replace it. All right, and of course, once I did the heater core and the evaporator, I went ahead and I added new coolant, I flushed the system, I burped the system, all that. And of course, I recharged the AC. But in order to charge the AC, you must first pull a vacuum to make sure that there's no air trapped in the system, because air in your AC system will damage the compressor. So I did that, and of course, I follow another YouTube video. That one definitely was a Chrisfix video that I follow on how to recharge the AC system. So I'm also gonna link that video down in the description below in case you guys want to take a look at that. But overall, after the brake system, after the U-joints on the drive shaft, after the heater core and the evaporator, honestly, it's not that bad. It was stuff that is 22 years old and it's reasonable why they're gonna break at this time. The plastic parts, the metal parts, they all get corroded and they all snap. The brake line, for example, that's a common thing. You know, I'm not gonna reject the vehicle just because it needs a brake line. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, what the car is really missing is the windshield washer fluid, reservoir, and pumps. So we're gonna go ahead and install that in a couple of minutes. But yeah, overall the car has been reliable. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, or if you guys want to give me any tip on what I should do next as a repair, if you guys notice something in the video that needs my attention, let me know. All right guys, if you take a look over here, this is the new reservoir and pump that I need to install. If you take a look at it, this goes on the driver's side right here, just like this. It's hidden inside the fender, just like that. So you fill it up here, and then over here, this is your two pumps. All right, and you have your wiring right here. There's a harness that goes right here, another one right here. And some vehicles, not all, but some, has a level sensor that goes right here. Now, this is the new one that I bought. This is exactly how it came. It's missing the sensor. It's missing this cover right here. It did came with the filler neck, which I'm surprised because half the time they don't even send you that. And it's also missing the two bolt clips that goes right here, the threaded clips that goes right here and right here. So that's a bummer, but I'm gonna put this down in the description below in case you guys want to pick this up. But just keep aware, keep your old tank with you, because you're gonna need to migrate some parts over to the new one. All right guys, so this is the old one right here. If you take a look over here, this is the clip I was talking about that we need to move over to the new one in order for the bolts to fasten into the new one. If you take a look over here, for some reason this pump is missing right here. It's not a problem. As I mentioned, these are the new ones. This is the sensor I was talking about, the leveling or the level sensor that we need to remove and put it right here. And of course, this is the other clip right here. And we need to remove this this cap right here and just move it over to the new one. I'm not sure why these aftermarket brands always do stuff halfway. Like, I mean, would it kill you to just put a cap right here? Would it kill you to put the sensor as well? It makes no sense. Alright guys, so I just want to talk about the sensor real quick. The sensor's right here. You want to make sure when you're installing it that this part is up right here. So there's a letter and a number. Make sure it's facing up the correct way. Alright guys, so I got the tank set up. I went ahead and installed the bolt threaded mounting points on both ends right here. I got the two pumps. I got the sensor in the correct orientation, just like that. I think it's kind of crooked. There, it's all set. Honestly, this was really difficult to push in through, but I got it in. Got the cap back on, and that part is all set. You're gonna install the filler neck once this thing is bolted onto the fender. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna figure out how we can snake this through all this. You have these two little ears right here that needs to hook up to the fender. It's pretty self-explanatory once you get it in there. So we're just gonna go ahead and start off like this, push it through just like that, and then on top right here you want to get this in. You want to get those ears into this slot right here, and there's two of them, so you gotta play around with it. There we go, just like that. You got this ear and this ear, and then this should line up perfectly fine. There we go. We should be all set on this side. Under, you see the pumps. Now I'm gonna see if I can connect everything. It's probably gonna give me some issues connecting the level sensor, but I think this one should be easy too. Maybe I should take it back down and reconnect it first. I think maybe that should be way easier. Yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick since it was easy to put it on. All right guys, these are your hoses and your two sensor connectors. The hoses, I believe, but here this one has this harness and this hose like taped up, so most likely we'll go to this one right here, and then the other one looks like they're free floating, so I believe they go to this one right here. So I'm not sure if it really matters which hose goes where, but don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to follow what is the most logical one, which if you notice these two right here are taped up, and so I think they go to the same pump, which is this one right here. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and connect everything, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and snake it back into the fender. All right guys, so I got the tank, I got all the wires hooked up, and once again the ears are in its proper slot. The bolt holes are lining up, so I'm gonna go ahead and fasten it down, and then we should be all set. Then I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna see if it operates correctly. All right guys, so I got the tank installed, I got the filler neck installed. I went ahead and filled it up a little with some Bubble Blast from Taco Bell. I'm playing, do not use Bubble Blast. I went ahead and put a little distilled water, just a little, so I could test it out, because if it doesn't work, then I need to remove it. So I put a little distilled water, just enough to be above the pumps. So now I'm gonna go ahead and test it out. And you can see that the water is being sprayed onto the windshield. And on this side, I did notice that this squirter or this shooter right here is not spraying good enough. It's kind of like low pressure. It could be that the nozzle is probably like clogged, or it's probably cracked due to the weather. But it is working, so I'm gonna leave it alone. So it looks fine. And if you do notice over here, it looks like the sensor is working because it says low washer, because I only put like half of a cup. I put like really little just to test it out. So that part is working, so we should be all set now. All right, so now I'm just gonna go to the store and pick up the proper windshield wiper fluid, and it should be fine. Don't forget to change out your blinker fluid as well, because it is that time of season again. All right guys, as a reminder, if you have a fender liner, you need to remove it in order to access this. I'm gonna figure out if I can get some kind of cover on this side just to protect the pumps, the wires, and this horn right here. All right guys, so that being said, I'm gonna end the video here. Let me know if you liked the video. Let me know if it was helpful. If you have any criticism or any tips, let me know. As always, I'm gonna make a new video on this vehicle. As I mentioned, I need to make a video on that U-joint on that side, which is really annoying, but it needs to be done. All right guys, so if you have any concerns, any tips, any issues, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always guys, take care, stay safe, happy holidays, bye bye.